Title: Silent Echoes. Chapter 1: The Arrival. Dr. Evelyn Carter had always been drawn to the mysteries of the human mind. A renowned psychologist, she was known for her groundbreaking research in neuropsychology. When she received an invitation to join a secluded research facility in the remote mountains of Vermont, she couldn't resist the opportunity. The invitation came from Dr. Marcus Harrington, a brilliant but reclusive neuroscientist who had made headlines with his unconventional experiments. As Evelyn's car wound its way up the narrow, fog-covered road, she couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The dense forest closed in around her, and the only sound was the rhythmic thump of her tires on the gravel. She finally reached the imposing gates of the Harrington Institute, a sprawling Victorian mansion that had been converted into a state-of-the-art research facility. Evelyn was greeted by Dr. Harrington himself, a tall, gaunt man with piercing blue eyes that seemed to look right through her. "Welcome, Dr. Carter," he said, his voice a low, soothing baritone. "We've been eagerly awaiting your arrival." As they walked through the dimly lit hallways, Evelyn noticed the eerie silence that permeated the place. There were no other researchers in sight, only the occasional nurse or orderly who hurried past without making eye contact. Dr. Harrington led her to her quarters, a small but comfortable room with a window overlooking the dense forest. "We're on the brink of something extraordinary," Dr. Carter Harrington said as he handed her a key. "I can't wait to show you our progress." Chapter 2: The Experiment. The next morning, Evelyn was introduced to the rest of the team. Dr. Lisa Kim, a brilliant young neuroscientist with a keen interest in brain-machine interfaces, and Dr. Robert Mitchell, a seasoned psychiatrist known for his work with patients suffering from severe trauma. Together, they were working on a project that Harrington called the Echo Protocol. Harrington explained that the protocol was designed to explore the depths of the human subconscious. By using advanced neural interfaces, they could tap into a person's memories, thoughts, and emotions, and even manipulate them. The implications for treating mental illness were immense, but so were the ethical concerns. Evelyn was both fascinated and apprehensive. The potential for breakthroughs in understanding the human mind was enormous, but the risks were equally high. As the days turned into weeks, she became more deeply involved in the experiments. They started with simple memory retrieval exercises, but soon moved on to more complex manipulations. One night, while reviewing data in her room, Evelyn heard a faint whisper. She looked around, but there was no one there. She dismissed it as her imagination, but the whispers grew more frequent and insistent. They seemed to come from the very walls of the institute, echoing in her mind. Chapter 3: The Descent. As the experiments continued, Evelyn began to notice strange changes in her colleagues. Dr. Kim became increasingly paranoid, convinced that someone was watching her every move. Dr. Mitchell, once calm and composed, started having violent outbursts. Evelyn herself was plagued by vivid nightmares and a growing sense of dread. The whispers became more distinct, forming words and phrases that seemed to be plucked from her own thoughts. "Remember," they said, "remember what you've done." Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. She decided to confront Dr. Harrington, but he was always elusive, immersed in his work. She began to suspect that the Echo Protocol was having unintended consequences, that they were delving too deep into the human mind. One night, unable to sleep, Evelyn wandered the dark hallways of the institute. She stumbled upon a locked door that she had never noticed before. Using the key Harrington had given her, she opened it and descended a narrow staircase into the basement. What she found there was beyond her worst nightmares. The basement was filled with rows of makeshift cells, each containing a person hooked up to a neural interface. Their eyes were vacant, their bodies motionless, but their minds were active, trapped in a virtual prison of their own memories and fears. Evelyn realized with horror that the whispers she had been hearing were the echoes of these tormented minds, amplified by the Echo Protocol. Dr. Harrington was not just exploring the subconscious, he was imprisoning it, using the patients as guinea pigs in his twisted experiments. Chapter 4: The Escape. Determined to stop Harrington, Evelyn returned to her quarters and began gathering evidence. She documented everything she had seen and recorded her suspicions. She knew she couldn't do it alone, so she confided in Dr. Kim and Dr. Mitchell. They were horrified, but agreed to help. Together, they devised a plan to free the prisoners and expose Harrington's crimes. They knew they had to move quickly and carefully. As Harrington's influence extended far beyond the institute, they managed to disable the neural interfaces and wake the prisoners from their virtual nightmares. But Harrington was not one to be easily thwarted. He confronted them in the basement, his calm demeanor replaced by a manic intensity. "You don't understand," he hissed. "We're on the verge of a new era, a new understanding of the mind. You can't stop this." A struggle ensued, and in the chaos, Harrington was accidentally electrocuted by one of his own devices. With him gone, the institute fell into disarray. Evelyn and her colleagues managed to contact the authorities and expose the truth.